the start of a brand new EFL season, the Championship, the League One, the League Two. Boys, we're very excited. I'm joined by, EFL expert in my opinion, Gab Sutton. Gab, how you doing, mate?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for having me, Ash. Looking forward to it.
We're also delighted to be joined by a man, he's in football, but also he's a former director of an EFL club, Crawley Town. Erdem Konyar, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no worries,
Not as well informed as Gab, but I'll try my best to keep up.
No one is as well informed as Gab on the
That's
planet,
very
so
true.
you know I appreciate you trying, but it is an impossible task. Boys, EFL kickstarts this Friday. There's one thing that we have to do that's extremely important. It's getting our predictions down. We're going for league title winners, we're going for promotions, and we're going for relegations. And then we might also dabble in some dark horses and underperformers. Shall we kick things off in the Championship?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, Erdem, league title winners, Championship.
Leeds. I just think it's the best well-rounded squad. I think they've I think they've still got a lot of transfer business to get going. They've had a lot of funds come in with the Archibray sale. I know they still need to do a few sales with Somerville and stuff like that, but Leeds is a massive club. I mean, I can't see them. They need to go up as well financially. I think the fan base is very close knit. Daniel Farker's got a lot about him. I think he's won it before. I think he can take Leeds and go on again in the Prem, as in to solidify in the Premier League this time. That's my favourite.
90 points in a Championship season. I mean, that gets you promotion nearly every single time. Like, they were unlucky last season, right? Like, they deserved it?
Yeah, I think if you get to 90 points, you normally win the title or certainly go up automatically. I do definitely see room for improvement for Leeds. I think they need a bit more creativity in midfield, especially having lost Archie Gray, although he was mainly at right back last year. But I think the centre-back pairing that they've got of Joe Roden and is going to be, I think Roden's going to be really important for them at the back. And I think the attacking quartet that they've got, Matteo Joseph, one to watch as well, Spain under-21's international. I think he could catch fire this year. He didn't start a league game last year, but he did get a lot of substitute appearances. He's been ripping it up in pre-season, and he could really be one to watch this year.
So who are your title, and I don't want to drop any bombshells, but prepare yourself, Erdem. Who are your title winners for the Championship?
Sunderland. Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I think it's a very big long shot. I mean, I see the potential. I see the potential of going up. I don't see the potential for being a title winner, because I think you have to be very consistent. It's a team based on youth. There's a lot of youth in that team. Mm-hmm. I do think they have one of the most exciting players in the Championship is Clark by far.
Yeah, Jack Clark. Yeah.
He's like a more direct Jack Grealish, that type of player, just fearless. Just, has that type of mould where he doesn't care, takes a hit. But I don't see them being title winners. I don't see them being in the playoffs either. But that's the beauty of debate.
Wow.
Well, let me put the case forward then, because I think Sunderland have got 7 players who I'm very confident will be one of the best players in the league in their position. I love Anthony Patterson, the goalkeeper. I'm a massive fan of Trey Hume, who they got at right back, who Erdem knows about. Dan Ballard at centre half, once described as a young Tony Adams. He's now got some Championship experience under his belt. I think Dan Neil and Joe Bellingham are hugely talented in midfield, and like Erdem mentioned, Jack Clark and Patrick Roberts, who in 22-23 were 2 of the best wingers in the league. Roberts dropped off a little bit last year, but Clark didn't, and they got into the playoffs. Much of this group got into the playoffs in the 22-23 season when they were both massively hit by injuries and 2 years further back in their development. So 2 years further on, under the right management, which they didn't have last season, I think their potential is absolutely off the scale. So that's why I've got Sunderland winning the league.
A new manager's in place, right?
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that, it's his maiden season in English football. You think it's going to be easy for him to win the EFL straight off the bat?
I don't think it's going to be easy. My pick isn't so much on Reggie Lebris, who they've appointed from France, but it's more about the potential of the squad. And there's players that I've not mentioned there, like Chris Rigg, for example, who has been sought after by European giants this summer, and he's rejected them to stay at Sunderland and sign a 3-year deal. They've got a really creative player called Adil Ayuchiche, who's just got absolutely stunning vision. They've got Pierre Ekwa in midfield, midfield who I really like. Yeah, so I think they're just one centre forward short, which I'm sure they're going to bring in from absolutely rocketing up that league. Bearing in mind when Tony Mowbray was there, they weren't far off both last season and the year before. So for me, I'm very big on Sunderland. And also, just one final point, they have been very youth oriented in terms of the recruitment, but now some of those younger players have had that experience that they're now coming into their peak years. So only 3 of their 27-man squad are actually teenagers now. So they're coming into their peak years, and this is players with loads of potential. So I think Sunderland could have a fantastic campaign.
As a club, they only pay fees for under 24s.
Really?
That's their philosophy.
Yeah.
They try to get under 27, but there's been anomalies this year with Alan Brown and stuff like that.
Well, who's a pick up on a free? Yeah.
He's a very good player.
Yeah, I think as well, Alan Brown's going to bring a bit of experience, a bit of grit, a bit of bite to that midfield, which I think is going to make a difference.
Good for the dressing room for the youngsters.
Exactly, and I think Luke O'Nine's a bit like that as well. I think he's an absolute mentality monster as well. So I think Luke O'Nine and Alan Brown are going to be really important from a leadership point of view.
Yeah, I like Luke O'Nine.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Erdem, who else have you got to go up? 2 more spots. You filled one of them with Leeds. Who else
I've
is
gone
there?
with Burnley. I think there's still a lot of good players in there. You've got Zeki Amdouni, who's a Swiss international, just played in Euros. Foster had a difficult time adapting last season, but he created wonders in the Belgium. I think this is a £10 million plus signing. I know it doesn't always translate into success, but Scott Parker's won this league before. Scott Parker's hungry. It's also not a last chance saloon, but it's definitely a last chance for Scott to try to go up and solidify himself as a Premier League manager again. So I think he'll be eager to make sure that translates into success because of what happened with the Bournemouth episode. So I think Scott Parker will be a huge factor for this Burnley side, and they've kept most of their players as well. And there's a lot of good players in there. They did recruit. I mean, they did very well coming up to the Premier League, and then they just couldn't carry on. Company had to adapt to the Prem. It's a hard place to adapt to.
Yeah.
But we've seen with other teams like how comfortably they went up and how easy they came down. I still think there's a team there that came up. There's still a lot of players in there, and they've added well to that as well.
Do you know what though, Erdem? Have you ever had an experience in football where you've got a squad that's got so many players? Burnley have got 37 players. It's a lot to manage. Do you think that can bring its own challenges sometimes?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you don't want the ideal squad size is about 24.
Well, Burnley have got 37.
Yeah.
So
one thing is we are in early August. So one thing is you can have this conversation 1st of September. It can change massively because they can sell 5, 6. They can get 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But it is a problem when you have too many. But when you have too many figures, it is. But that's why they got to try and loan them out. But you rather have a close knit squad with camaraderie, because if you look at the Leicester team that won the Prem, it was a close knit squad with camaraderie that got them forward and together. So I do agree with that. I mean, the manager's preference. Every manager I've worked with prefers a small, close knit squad.
Yeah.
Because they want to be able to give everyone a chance in that squad.
Yeah.
Keep the dressing room happy, because a player that's not playing or not in the 18 is always very unhappy.
Sure.
So if you've got 6 unhappy players, well, it's easier to manage 6 unhappy players rather than 17 or 18 unhappy players.
Yeah. So do you know what? I was going for lunch with an EFL manager. He's out of work at the moment, called John Coleman. And in the second half of the 17-18 title-winning Accrington Stanley side, he basically took the same 11, didn't change it because they were on this massive winning streak. And he said at that time he was doing more... putting more energy and spending more time on the players that weren't playing than the players that were, because it's basically like the players that were playing and winning don't really need managing, whereas the players that were part of the squad that aren't getting in the team need more love and attention.
He's a very good manager.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, that's a very underrated manager, by the way.
Sure.
That guy is, he's a very humble, grounded man who can get blood out of a stone.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see this guy in a good club in League One, because he's not League Two. This guy deserves to be League One.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
What he did at Accrington is unbelievable. I mean, that was Jordan Clark, the winger.
Yeah.
We played against these guys. They played good football.
Yeah.
With a limited budget, man.
Yeah.
And he's a good man as well. Like, he talks to people. He's a talker. I don't know what's happened with the fallout with the club. Don't really want to dip into that, as I don't have the information. But for me, this is a very good manager.
Agreed. Yeah.
Gab, have you got Burnley as one of your
No, I actually think Burnley finish outside the top 6.
Okay.
I know.
Who's your other club?
Luton.
Do you have Luton?
Luton are in my top 6.
Right.
They're not in my top 2, but they are in my top 6.
Give us one of your promotions.
Well, so Sunderland winning the league for me. I've got Leeds finishing second in runners-up. I'll go with Erdem on Luton. I also think they get into the top 6.
Yeah, I've gone with Luton because of the camaraderie. I think they did really well last year
Mm.
to keep the togetherness, not overspend, not get overly excited by their promotion to the Prem.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen this club, played against this club from League 2, and the people in charge are still the same people.
Mm.
So that really, it's actually one of the best stories of football, where you see this club with the same people go the length, and then Nathan Jones has left them, come back a few times, and they've stayed the same. And they haven't deviated from their principles.
Mm.
I just think it's a very welcoming club. The CEO Gary Sweet is a very good guy.
Yeah. Mick Harford as well. He's a
Mick
great
Harford,
guy.
legend.
Yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
footballing legend, of course.
Yeah.
I feel Gary does well to keep the club together.
Mm.
He's a good talker. Another person that reads the room really well. Whenever we've been with them, they've always been so polite, so welcoming. Maybe because they want James Collins off us. No, honestly, it's a club I want to do well, and obviously as a footballer, when you look at the players in there, there's a lot of big hitters are still in there. Like
Sure.
Adebayo's still in there. Got Morris is still in there. Obviously, I think
Alfie Doughty they've still got
yeah,
on the left.
Alfie Doughty on the left.
Yeah.
Good player. I mean, it's a hard place to go to,
Mm.
and Rob Edwards is a good manager as well.
Yeah, I think
I
so.
I think he got sacked by Watford, took Luton up in the same season, and I think he's did it with Forest Green. So Rob Edwards and Luton will come up the players for me.
I'll go with West Brom. I think they've had a tough summer, lost a lot of key players, but I just want to put a lot of faith in Carlos Corberán, really, because I think he's a fantastic manager, and I think if he was to get into a playoff situation, he's the manager I would back with his sort of tactical nous.
Do you think Carlos will stay there a long time? I think it's his last season.
Possibly, yeah. I think I do. I've been a bit surprised how there have been so many sales at West Brom. I think they've got to be active in the last month.
There's a takeover there.
Well, do you know what it was, Erdem? I think it's because Shilan Patel, who's their new owner, is probably very responsible and wants to balance the books from the mistakes that have been made at West Brom over the last 10 years or so. So maybe there's been a case where they've had to sell players. So it's not ideal from a squad point of view. They have brought in Hegem in defence and Diakite in midfield. I still think they've got a decent squad there, but for me, they've got the best manager in the league. They've lost. They've signed Devante Cole from Barnsley. Yeah,
that's what I mean. It's not overly exciting.
Sure. Yeah, he got 18 goals for Barnsley last season, but he's always had that question mark about him. Can he step up to Championship level?
Yeah, that's what.
So I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily expect him to be first choice. I imagine there's going to be another striker coming in.
I like Asante Thomas.
Well, he's actually gone to Coventry.
Oh, he's gone?
Yeah, he's gone to Coventry.
There you go. Back to you first.
I'm like Fabrizio Romano, aren't I?
FootballPark exclusive.
When did he go?
A few days ago.
I don't know about you, but I love an EFL shirt, and I found the perfect place to pick up beauties like this. The Football League store has thousands of beautiful kits just like these for past and present EFL teams. The season's fast approaching, so get yours before it's too late. Click the link in the description to head to the Football League store.
Okay, relegation for the Championship. Gab, I'll go with you first. Who's getting relegated?
I think Blackburn Rovers, Plymouth Argyle and Oxford United go down.
Plymouth Argyle, that's the one that's coming to my head straight away. You're not back in Wayne Rooney, are you?
I'm not, no. I think he's often been more focused on his brand as a manager than necessarily what's best for the team. So when he was at Birmingham, he changed his style straight away, which I always think is a bit risky in season. And then when he was at Derby, he was trying to get veteran defenders like Phil Jagielka and Curtis Davis at 40 and 37, trying to play it from the back with a high line. And I do often feel like he's had that sort of on his mind. How can I appeal to clubs higher up? And it's not necessarily the approach that you need. I also feel like Argyle probably should have gone for a safe Championship pair of hands at this stage of their trajectory. Someone like an Alex Neil or a Paul Heckingbottom.
Yeah. I see that.
Okay, all right. Blackburn are also there as well. They didn't finish very well last season, but why them?
ownership issues. The Venkies have got a court case on the 20th of August that could dictate the rest of their transfer window. So either they're going to be scrambling for players at late notice, or they're going to be relying on a youth academy and players that maybe aren't ready for championship level. I don't think either of those are going to be conducive to championship safety. I do like John Eustace, the manager, but I think it's going to be a difficult season for them, and I don't see much depth in that squad.
And Oxford, they won promotion last season, but why?
Yeah, I think Oxford kind of put it together in the last couple of months of last season, but the first 4 months of Des Buckingham's reign, it was actually lower mid-table form, mitigated a little bit by injuries, but yeah, I'm not sure that they're quite going to be ready for championship level. So those will be my three: Oxford, Blackburn and Plymouth Argyle.
Erdem, who's going down in the champ?
Well, I'm sure Plymouth and Oxford is my choice.
Okay.
But I'm going to get influenced by Gabby for Blackburn because I couldn't pick a third.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking, and with that reasoning, it does. I have hope in John Eustace, but if you have that many problems off field, and it was a disastrous end to the season, it was, it was just a team that was always spiraling out of form, kind of thing. So I see Plymouth and Oxford as the 24th, 23rd. And I'm just going to go with Blackburn because of that extra bit of knowledge that it does add up, and I can't find another one. I'm looking, but I can't find. I mean, it's not being sold. That sells. I'll go with that. It makes sense.
Who is the team that is the surprise package?
Sheffield Wednesday.
Sheffield Wednesday.
I think Danny Roll's a future Premier League manager.
Great.
He's got just the way he plays, the high intensity, good pressing game. I feel he gets the best out of his team. I watched him last year quite a lot towards the end of the season, and the football was really exciting. Like it was he reminded me of a young Jurgen Klopp, like the way he tries to play, high intensity, and his character. I've talked to him a few times. Just seems like a very humble, energetic, passionate football person. Saw him on the TV on the Euros once again, come across well.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see him do well, and I think he applies his philosophy very well into a team, and he's someone. I feel like he's got that factor where, I mean, it's a big comparison, but how Mourinho used to get the best out of his players. So at Inter Milan, Schneider had his best ever season, Diego Milito had his best ever season. Mourinho goes, in comes Benitez, and these players are nowhere near what they were on the Mourinho. And I feel like Danny Roll's got that, getting it out of players, making them the best they possibly can be, and even more. He's got that, so that's why I'm going with Danny Roll from Sheffield Wednesday.
Just stop you there, we've got a beautiful Sheffield Wednesday number just behind me here. So if you want to pick up a shirt like this, head over to the Football League store. A link is in the description. Gab, your dark horses?
I'm agreeing with Erdem, Sheffield Wednesday. I think Royal inherited the worst start in Championship history and lost 5 of his first 6 last season, but you could see there was an instant improvement in performances, and from November onwards, actually, Wednesday have been producing top 6 form. So there's such a stark turnaround is just astonishing, and that's what gives me a lot of confidence in Royal for the reasons that Erdem's mentioned. And then I also like the recruitment, and I think that front three of JD Gassama, of Jamal Lowe, and of Anthony Masaba.
Lowe's a huge signing.
Yeah, he's got to be so quick, hasn't he, Erdem? Yeah.
This is a very good player for Sheffield Wednesday. That's a top 6 player.
Yeah.
So I think he can do very well. That's what excites me as well. What he'll get out of Jamal Lowe.
Yeah.
I mean, that he can end up being one of the best players in the champ. He's got the potential to.
And they've got someone like Barry Bannon feeding them through. So
yeah, and Barry Bannon's a quality player. And he loves the club, loves the shirt.
Exactly.
He's going to give 100% every day. So,
sure.
Yeah, no, I'm all for that.
Jamal Lowe, just out of curiosity, he's 30 now. It feels like he's been around for a long time. He's always had that.
Well, he started in non-league, so he only came into the Football League when it's.
Where was Sutton?
No, I think he was at Havant and Waterlooville or something, and then went to Portsmouth.
Yes, he went to Portsmouth.
He was at Hampton and Richmond, Hampton and Richmond.
Nicky Kabamba.
Right. Okay.
All right.
2 of them.
Okay.
Before he joined
Hampton and Richmond. That's it. Because when we came in, they were at Crawley. They were around, and there was one of the guys that was like hot, and him and Kabamba were hot at Hampton and Richmond.
Okay, so we've got our dark horses, both going for Sheffield Wednesday. Now we're looking for a team that's kind of like the underachievers, the teams that you thought they'd be a bit better. You'd like to think they'd do well, but actually they're going to flop off quite quickly.
Sheffield United.
Okay.
Oh. Really?
Sheffield United, yeah, because I think they've got quite an imbalanced squad. I think they've got massive issues in the goalkeeping department. They've only really got Kiefer Moore as the only striker that really convinces me, and I think they've got problems all across the defence. And while they have got half their team is exciting, I also think there's major question marks over half their best 11, let alone in terms of squad depth. And I also think Chris Wilder's stock isn't maybe what it was a few years ago.
I feel it's Chris Wilder's last chance to cement himself. Knowing him from League Two,
Sure.
he's very disciplined, good organiser,
Yeah.
and he's hungry. He's a hungry guy who wants it, and I feel I think he's chomping at the bit to get going. I back Chris Wilder because of what he's done.
Yeah.
He's done it a few times as well.
Well, he is a club legend at Sheffield United. Yeah.
He's done it to do it with Northampton and to get him playing and then go Sheffield, and he's done it.
Yeah.
Done it again. So I back this guy, and O'Hare from
Callum O'Hare, yeah.
I like him a lot. I think he's a very good player. I wouldn't say, look, I understand your points, but I still think they'll be top 6, you know.
Okay.
Where have you got Sheffield United to finish?
14th.
14th.
Wow.
Okay, yeah, that's a shocker. That's a shocker of a
I'll
season.
go 6th or 7th.
Erdem, who's your underachiever?
Norwich. I just
Right,
feel like they've sold the player for 18 million, Sarah or whatever, to Galatasaray.
Mm.
They haven't really replaced their players. It's a tiring, ageing squad. The manager's just coming from Denmark. He's 35, I think. He's a new guy. I feel like it's a young director of football. I feel like the funds are kind of running out. The yo-yo's running out of money to keep well oiled. I just think it's a very yo-yo club.
Yeah.
They go down, come up, do the same thing, and I think this year, I'm not expecting much from Norwich.
Sure. I think Gabriel Sara is going to be a big loss, isn't he? He's been a quality player for them over the last couple of seasons. I do like Johannes Hofthorp. He comes in with some pretty good reviews from Denmark, so he might be able to do it. But I do think it could be a bit of a transitional campaign for Norwich while they replace some key players and maybe evolve their squad.
Well, I'm all for getting foreign managers and doing whatever, and they're great. Of course, you can have a track record, but he's coming from Nordsjælland. And Nordsjælland is a team that's owned by Right to Dream Academy, right? These guys are huge. They sold players like Kudus. That's the academy you're talking about.
Yeah.
So these guys, that's the club. They've Dasgard in Sampdoria.
Mikkel Damsgaard.
Yeah, Mikkel Damsgaard. This is all them, right? They've just sold another player for 20 million to someone else. Because they have a Ghanaian academy in Ghana called Right to Dream. So these guys are making a lot of money. This is a side that could challenge FC Copenhagen.
Yeah.
So I feel like the manager's been backed very well with probably one of the best elite recruitments in the world.
Okay.
And they've got the youngest average age squad in the world.
Yeah.
So he's come from that type of backing to go into Norwich where he needs to pull a rabbit out of a hat.
Yeah, for sure.
And I just don't see it.
Interesting.
I don't, but good luck to him. I don't know him. I don't know, obviously you hope everyone does well.
Yeah.
I just don't see, the squad doesn't excite me. It doesn't give me the same.
Interesting. Well, they could be set to lose Johnny Rowe as well to Leeds. He's been linked. Yeah. So it could be a couple of tough ones.
They're selling.
Yeah.
You see, I know that they when did they come down? 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So the parachute money's run out.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're selling to keep, because they've got a model where they sell and they do.
Yeah, and it might be that they're trying to develop a team that can challenge in a couple of seasons, but it might take them a bit of time.
That's been our championship predictions. If you want to check out our predictions for the other league, League Ones, League Twos, they'll be on the YouTube channel as well. If you want to get your favourite, your desired EFL shirt, there's only one place to do it. It's Football League Store. So check them out. Their link is in the description. We've got some big things coming for the EFL for the whole of the season. A lot of content coming as well. So stick around for any announcements you may see. But for now, catch us in our next video.